Well, is Oliver McGee, former White House senior policy analyst. He's also a Trump supporter. And Richard Fowler, Democratic strategist and Fox News contributor. Oliver, first to you. There's no question that as long as this investigation continues, it is a dark cloud hovering over the Clinton campaign. And it is clearly this investigation going to last through the election. That inevitably means what?
This means that this is a case that is, I'm seeing parallels to the General Petraeus case. Because that was a question about executive judgment, which is really empathy questions and service. Empathy for the presidential candidate in play, but also empathy for the American voter. And also the FBI Comey is asking the proper questions so that he can be an ultimate service to the American people before we have to come and make a critical decision and on Election Day.
All right, but clearly it's going to last through the Election Day itself. Richard, Hillary spoke earlier this afternoon after the announcement, the FBI announcement. She said zero about this. Eventually, she's going to have to say something. What will she say? What would you advise her to say?
I think that's a good question. There's no question that this is very, very troubling to come out just 11 days before the election. I think all Americans can agree there. And I think what you're going to see from the Clinton campaign is what you saw in John Podesta's statement. They're going to push the FBI. If you have stuff, if you have these emails so close to Election Day, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or Independent, every American has to make a choice. So let's take a look at what this is. What do you have so we can figure out what it is, and then the American
So, Richard,
people
let me just
vote.
get this straight. You're saying that on the stump, when she responds to what has happened, or perhaps in an interview, that's what she says.
Oh, no, I think that's what the reality is. I mean, what we saw from
but I'm asking, what would you advise her to say? Because she's going to have to talk about this at some point. What would you advise her to say?
Absolutely, she's going to have to talk about this. But I think she can't talk. I mean, clearly the Clinton campaign and Hillary Clinton herself, this shocked them. So they're going to have to figure out how they answer this. They have to figure out what the FBI actually has so they can actually make an educated answer. So I think it's behooving on Comey to release this information.
Oliver, back to you. We've got a poll, the last Fox News poll on trustworthiness. And again, a lot of people who are going to vote for Trump don't trust him either, but 67% of the voters say that Hillary is not trustworthy. That means that as long as the focus is on something that is suspected that she's done wrong, that number might actually increase.
Well, absolutely. This election is really about principles and issues, and the principal issue right now is the FBI investigation. But it's also about SCOTUS more than POTUS. American people are very, very wise, very, very smart. They're watching this very, very carefully, and they're watching particularly in the middle where the independents reside. Support in the independents was already bleeding on the Clinton campaign, but this is going to cause a basic tsunami if this thing keeps fleshing out and the drip, drip, drip continues. This was a shocking, shocking news today, akin to us finding MH370, and I solve airplane crash problems on Fox News. So this is like a presidential airplane crash. This is a tsunami effect on the presidential election.
And Richard, the fact is that what Hillary did talk about in her speech was Donald Trump and his women problems, et cetera. When you compare an FBI investigation to charges against Donald Trump on women, which the voters have probably already absorbed anyway, those charges and what they think about Trump, doesn't the FBI trump any of the other questions?
Well, it depends how the voters are looking at this election, right? If you're looking at this election based on issues and looking on this election based like the other Oliver talked about, the Supreme Court.
Issues and hold on a second. Issues
wait a minute,
and character, Richard. That's the real question.
You're right.
Whether
issues and character, and Oliver, just like he stated, that this is going to come to the Supreme Court. So it doesn't matter whether you trust Hillary or not. What you want is a candidate that's going to put the type of justices you want in the Supreme Court. So if you're a woman and you believe that women have the right to choose, then this won't sway your vote. If you are another woman, you believe in the right to bear arms, this is not going to sway your vote.
Right.
So I think that's what's the most important thing to understand here. If this election is indeed about the Supreme Court, then it's going to come down to what issues matter to you.
Finally, the question involves those voters who have not yet made a clear decision, because those are the ones who are going to change this election. Among those voters, what is more important to them? The lingering questions about Donald Trump and women, or a current investigation by the FBI about whether or not one of these candidates broke the law?
No question. Everyone is at the kitchen table, glued to their television sets, saying, this FBI flap is back on us again. We are glued to it like everything. It's the talk of the water cooler. It's the talk of the offices. Director Comey was doing executive judgment. He had to uncover this, but the key that makes this case so interesting is it was on a tangential investigation, so it's brand new information. We're going to be glued for the next 11 days, right at the time when the American people have to make a critical decision, and they're paying attention. They're paying attention.
The World Series has a real challenge here. Oliver McGee, Richard Fowler, we thank you both for being here. Have an exciting and good weekend. I appreciate it. Melissa.
Wow.
Thank you.